Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Deal Condo Buying for Beginners. My name is Nico Ramos. I'll be with you guys today. I'll be hosting and moderating, taking you guys through what will be a very informative and I'm sure very important discussion for all of us. Now, the Real Deal Condo Buying for Beginners aims to enlighten the minds of the younger generation, specifically millennials and those even younger, the Gen Z, about real estate investment and why it would benefit us and how it would benefit us and how we can get on this train to make sure these benefits start coming to us as early as possible in life. Many millennials and Gen Zs, myself included, look, we all aspire to have a place of our own, right? But a lot of the time, and I'm speaking for myself as well here, we might be a little too intimidated to even begin inquiring about it. This webinar discusses the ins and outs of real estate investing as explained by a real estate expert. Today, we're learning what the challenges are for millennials and Gen Zs when it comes to investing in real estate and how SMDC can address these challenges. To give you guys just a quick overview of what's happening in this webinar and to get everybody excited, here's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be exploring the relationship of the new generation to real estate investment. We're going to look at things to consider when buying a condominium. And last but not the least, this is very exciting, we're going to talk about a program from SMDC that gives all of us an opportunity to earn additional income while finding your friends and family a new home. But I won't be doing this by myself. Like I said, we will have some experts and we will have some very, very similar questions and inquiries that you guys might have that's going to be represented by our panel, our very, very exciting and diverse panel here today. All right, let's introduce them. Let's start off with a motivational speaker, a photographer and digital creator. He aims to make inspirational and faith-based content about marriage, career, adulting, love, and life on his YouTube channel. We're very happy that he's here with us this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nate Punzalan. Nate, thanks for being here.
Hey, what's up, Nico? Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll hear much more from Nate in a second, but allow me to introduce our next panelist. She's a financial coach, so she knows what she's talking. Don't take financial advice from me. Take it from her, all right? She is the founder and CEO of Peridot Consulting, and she's hosting a podcast called Quarter Life Bliss. I binged Quarter Life Bliss these last few days, and I have some notes. It's been very, very helpful. Her mission is to inspire and educate her audience to be financially literate no matter where they are in their lives. Let's welcome Coach Yanni Moya. Coach Yanni, thanks for being with us.
Hi, Nico. Hi, Nate. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for having me.
And also, our third panelist for today, we're going to get advice through this real estate expert. He is the Associate Director for the Research Division of Colliers Philippines. Please welcome Mr. Joey Bondo. Sir Joey, thank you for making time.
Hi, Nico, and also hi to our fellow panelists.
All right, the gang is all here. I have a lot of questions, right? If there's anything I'm contributing to the discussion today, it's questions. Because that's what I got a whole lot of, and you guys have a whole lot of the answers. Or maybe, hopefully, even more questions. I want to start off with Nate. Nate, buddy, you have a YouTube channel where the goal is to inspire the viewers, right? Now, inspire is a big word. It's a big goal. In your words, how exactly do you attempt to do that with your content?
Yeah, well, Nico, just as you said earlier, parang you have a lot of questions. That's what you'll be contributing. That's also, I also have a lot of questions about life. And adulting is hard, And so I think part of it was really just letting people in sa life ko, sa life namin ng wife ko. And the more that we explore career, love life, marriage, adulting, finances, we're not like certified coaches or experts or stuff like that. But parang it's nice when you have someone to relate with or someone to walk with in life's wonderful adventure. So that's kind of what we aim to do sa content namin.
And it's something that obviously I relate with a lot as well. Your newlywed, you and I, we're still considered newlyweds, right? So it's something that a lot of similar questions that you might have, and I'm looking forward to those. But just as a follow-up, we're representing the millennial demographic here. and you touched on it a little bit, but why those topics? When you create your videos, when you let people in, what kind of leads you to the decision? All right, hindi, okay lang. I'm open to opening up these topics in this part of my life to my viewers and people who consume my content.
Yeah, well, I guess the thought process is like, if I'm struggling with this as a newlywed or as a millennial, as a young professional, then I'm pretty sure other people will also be struggling with it. And so let's adventure together, no? And whether that's, love life, or stuff like, I don't know, real estate, money, career, investing in the future, things like that. We don't have all the answers, but let's, like I said, it's really just walking together with other people.
And today it's great because we're walking together. We're taking an adventure with someone who, Nate, you and I have a lot of questions. She's got answers. Coach Yani, Quarter Life Bliss. That's what your podcast is called. The title in itself is very, very interesting. For those who unfortunately haven't been exposed to the podcast yet, and you guys are missing out. But tell us what the podcast is about and what it aims to deliver to its listeners.
Yeah, Quarter Life Bliss is a podcast dedicated to spread bliss and happiness to all human beings. And I really started it when I was 25 kasi I noticed na parang a lot of my batchmates or people who are in the same age bracket as me, parang na-experience din yung quarter life crisis, no? Mostly because of not knowing what career they want to take or what are their passions or what their life goals are. Parang hindi pa talaga sila clear doon. And sabi nga ni Nate, kung na-experience ko yun, malamang na-experience din ng maraming tao. And that's why I started the podcast to share na, kasi na-realize ko, parang ako naman hindi ko talaga siya pinagdaanan na quarter life crisis, no? So I wanted to give tips on adulting, how they can turn their crisis into bliss.
And today is all about, I guess, a tangible action, right, that we can take as millennials, whether you're in a quarter life crisis or not. But Nate asks the questions, Yanni gives the advice, and today is all about really, quite literally, almost putting our money where our mouths are and taking a tangible step in making these things happen for us. And that's why, Sir Joey, it's a great pleasure that you're here with us and you're indulging us with your time. You're a real property expert, right? The expertise is in the building, folks. How are you different, and how is your expertise different, I guess, from other people who are into real property as well and real estate?
First, I'm a property market researcher, so we really look at the insights whenever you need to purchase a property, a residential unit, whether it's condominium or house and lot. So we really look at the insights whenever we provide recommendations to our clients, to the brokers. We provide data supported insights. And this is not the first time that I'll be talking to you, a millennial. I've had a number of webinars already, and the audience would range from OFWs to millennials to Gen Zs. So, it's really a wide range of audience that I have presented to before. And I think another fun part of being a researcher is that you really are able to gather first-hand information and even check that information by doing desktop research. So it's really a fun job, but at the same time, you also get to know a lot of insights, what's happening, what's hot and what's not in the property market.
And it's backed by data, right? And
Definitely.
I think you get to a certain age. I know this is what's constantly happening to me, whether it's in sports, whether it's in life, and most especially when it comes to your money. Emotion sometimes has to take a back seat to it. What we want, right, and what is cool or what's trending, sometimes we have to figure out how to value or devalue that, because the data, if you can access it, will really help you out in making the right decision.
We get to crunch the numbers and the data.
That's what you're good at, crunching numbers. That's what I'm bad at. I send you the numbers, you crunch them, and then you put them back here on the webinar. It's great. I'm excited already. For everyone who's watching, needless to say, this webinar is going to be productive and informative, and we'll try to keep it as fun as possible. And I have Nate, I have Yanni, and I have Sir Joey to prove me right. I'm sorry to the panel. I know I've just put an immense amount of pressure on all of us, but I have faith in the three of you, right? I have faith in the three of you, all the faith in the world. All right, let's get going. Nate, I wanna circle back to you. You're the youngest one in the panel, and I think this is an interesting question to ask you because of your age, but also because as you said, you've been very, very willing to let people into your life, and you've been very, very frank about things in your life. When you hear the term real estate investment, how do you define that, or what's your impression of that term?
Yeah, well, being frank, no, my first impression is I'm a little intimidated. My understanding of it is buying a house, buying a condo or a lot, shelling out lots of cash to invest in that long term, and then maybe you have somebody rent it, you lease it out, or you sell it after many years. And so in my mind, parang the ROI is super long term, and then you have to invest so much just for that, and that's why it's a little intimidating for me. And that's why I'm also looking to you guys, especially Yanni and Sir Joey, to help clarify these things.
Well, let's do that right now. Let's get right into it. Joey, as we've established, is the real property expert. As you said earlier, Joey, you've talked to millennials before. You've talked to guys like me and Nate. The list of guys like myself and Nate coming up to you and talking to you and asking you questions and giving that same exact impression of real estate investment. That line is very, very long. That club is huge. What do you say to guys like us? Because I'm co-signing Nate's impression of real estate investments. The younger generation, I think a lot of us maybe have that same impression with that term. What do you say to that?
Well, let me take off from what Nate mentioned. He said that initially he was intimidated by real estate investment, and I'm not exactly surprised by what Nate mentioned, because for a lot of millennials, the young investors, it is really something that they find intimidating, making your first major real estate investment. But I think one misconception that millennials have is that you need to have a huge sum of money to make that initial investment. Nico, what we're seeing right now is that a lot of developers are really, providing this extended, attractive payment terms. And this makes a real estate investment now more attractive and within the reach of a lot of millennial investors.
Anytime you say the word payment in a sentence and then you include extended, attractive, and terms, I'm listening. I'm listening a whole lot more closely than I would have. I've been saying young people a lot so far to start out this webinar, right? The youth, the new generation. Let's define that word young properly, right? I just want Coach Yanni to say and confirm that yes, I still am young. But Coach Yanni, you're the right person to talk to us about this. Who are young professionals? When I throw that word, young professionals, who fits into that category?
I love what you're saying. Yes, part ka pa ng young professionals. And, and yes, young professionals, or what we call yuppies, if naririnig niyo yan, are us. Tayo yan, no? It generally refers to people who are working after graduating. Ito yung mga age bracket nito, nasa 20 to 35. Millennials talaga. And yes, pasok tayong dalawa dyan ni Nate and ako. I'm not sure with Sir Joey, no? And naging wider yung definition actually ng young professionals recently. It doesn't necessarily mean na nagtatrabaho sa corporate lang or entrepreneur lang. It could be like you guys, freelancers, no? Host, yung mga may business, may small businesses, we are all considered young professionals. Basta may earning capacity, basta kumikita and already in their 20s and 30s, millennials in general, considered yan na young professionals or yuppies. So yes, congratulations Nico, kasali ka pa sa yuppies bracket.
Merong kumikita and then meron yung sumusubok kumita. On a month-to-month basis, I identify with either of the two. Nate, first of all, this is no surprise to you. You're the youngest one on the panel, but you know, young professional. That's what you are. Is that a term that I know you're a married man already, buddy, but you know, being the youngest one here, when you hear that term, young professionals, is that something that you easily relate with already, or is that something that you know you hear and you're like, hindi, those are my older cousins, those are my younger titos and titas, young professionals. Oh wait, ako na pala yun.
Well, I never thought I'd really get to this point as a young professional now. I guess, you know, 6-7 years ago, I was a college student and I was thinking, oh, you know what, maybe by 25, 26, 27 years old, I'll have it all down, you know. I'll be a young professional. And even now, you know, as a professional who's, I guess, worked part-time, worked as a regular employee, and worked freelance, and worked as a business owner, I'm still figuring things out. And so the young part of it, more than just the age, I feel like is made up of the questions, a little bit of that inexperience, or at least that room to grow, room to learn, room for investing into the future pa. And so there's a lot of stuff ahead of me pa that I'm excited to experience. And so yeah, I guess I consider myself part of that bracket, young professionals.
Oh, I'm every single year I feel further and further away from young, and it depends which colleague of mine you ask. I'm not sure if they consider me professional. It depends on the day. It depends on the day. Let's get to the meat of the discussion, right? Let's talk investment. All right, let's jump right into it, right? This one's for Coach Yanni and Joey. I'd love to hear your thoughts after Yanni, right? The two of you are, and especially you, Yanni, because of the podcast and what you specialize in, you're very much well aware of the ins and outs of adulting, so to speak, right? I mean, that's a new term that we've really kind of come to get used to, and it's something that we're now using a whole lot more. It's part of the vernacular. Before you became aware of that, I guess, before you jumped into educating people and learning more yourself, what were your impressions of property investment?
I love that question kasi I'm not sure with you guys, no? But ako before, when I was much younger, inisip ko, magkakaroon lang ako ng money to invest in properties. When I turn 40, alam mo yun, I need to have a big chunk of money, like millions talaga in my bank account before I can invest in a property. So that has been in my mind. Siguro simula bata ako hanggang before I started working, naisip ko, kasi if I'm only earning as an employee, hindi aabot to pay for a property. So parang yun yung initially yung misconception in my head na paano ko ma-afford nga naman no yung property, ang condominium, ang isang lupa if employee lang ako, hindi ko afford. Yun yung misconception, mahal siya. Right. Kailangan meron kang malaking money right away to pay for the down payment or the whole property. But inisip ko that the only way also na to invest in property is when I have big money and kung ako lang yung gagamit, hindi ko siya naisip na investment. So yun yung biggest misconception ko, yung I can't afford it yet and I can only afford it when I'm much older, pag marami na talaga akong malito.
Joey, is that a common misconception that you hear in your profession, and what do you say to people who kind of still continue to have that impression about real estate investment?
Nico, I agree with Yanni. I joined Colliers in 2016, and before joining Colliers, I'd say that I really have this hazy idea of property investment. Initially, I thought that it's really costly. You need a huge sum of money, and you'll probably be in your 40s, 50s before you make your first property investment. It's only when I joined Colliers that I realized that there's a lot of payment terms that are made available to the investing public. You can buy a condominium unit even before it is constructed or during the pre-selling or pre-construction stage, and that you'll be able to pay the down payment, for instance, in about 3-5 years before the bank financing enters. So, all these concrete terms and ideas about property investing, I'm learning now. Before joining Colliers, I was really a novice, I would say, in terms of property investing. Only now that I'm getting all these tips, because I have networks also from other developers, from my colleagues who are giving me also tips on how to invest my hard-earned money.
And that's what we have now in you, Joey. You are our network. You are our source of the scoops, of the great information that your expertise provides us. I see Nate on the chat here raising his hand. I know that you have a follow-up question. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, parang for me kasi growing up, I felt like, and I guess even now, I'm a young professional who makes the salary of a young professional. And so growing up, my conception, what I always thought about real estate is, I'm earning this much, so paano yun? I'll just save up chunk by chunk by chunk every month, and then once I have millions in the bank, that's the only time that I can invest in real estate. And I saw then that parang the older generation, they didn't have that much drive also to invest in real estate kahit bata pa sila. And so I see that, Coach Yanni and Joey, you guys can speak into this now. I feel like there's more empowerment now. There's more opportunities now. There are, you guys are saying flexible payment terms and everything. I think the younger generation is more empowered than the older ones now to invest in real estate property kahit bata pa or even at a younger age. So what do you guys have to say about that, siguro?
Yanni, go ahead. We can start with you.
Okay. I think with what Nate is saying, I think sinabi rin to ni Sir Joey kanina, importante that we do our research kasi. Our generation, research a lot, which helped us think kung saan ba dapat tayo mag-invest. Information is available everywhere, kahit sa social media. Di ba, lahat yan makikita mo. And yung questions ng, can I afford it? How much do I need? Yung mga ganyang questions, lahat yan masasagot natin if we do our research. And I think number 2 is that sinabi rin to ni Sir Joey kanina, yung payment terms. If we know that there's a lot of different payment terms, makikita natin na, possible pala, na-enlighten yung mga millennials, na doable naman pala to invest in real estate. And I think as the sandwich generation kasi, sandwich generation, meaning we are the one responsible for our parents' retirement. Tayo na yung ginawang retirement plan. And while we are also building our future, building and planning for our own family in the future, medyo natuto na tayo. Itong millennial generation, talagang naging woke na talaga, when it comes to investing. Kasi ayaw na nilang ulitin to sa next generation. Ayaw na nila na yung next generation ma-experience na ako ang sasalo sa akin when I retire is the next generation. And so, in my firm, Perry.Consulting, yung mga clients namin, ang dami kong clients na newly graduated, first job nila, and ang iniisip agad nila, how can I invest so that I can secure my early retirement? I can secure my retirement plan. Diba? So, yun yung napapansin ko sa millennials, sa yuppies, that they are really keen in investing and in searching. I think that's what really changed.
Joey, jump in.
Well, I definitely agree with what Yanni mentioned, Nico. But let me also emphasize that this is not just an empowered generation. In fact, this is also a generation that has a strong and a continuously rising purchasing power. That's why whenever they, get receive bonuses, whenever they receive their salaries, they start to save, and they realize that here in the Philippines, in fact, we don't have a lot of investment options. Perhaps you have stock market, you have property investment, or now you have real estate investment trust. But this is a generation that has really become internet savvy and really does a lot of research, and they have been seeing a lot of construction around them, so a lot of integrated communities, a lot of condominium buildings that they're seeing. They are being handed leaflets in malls and parks, and realize that, okay, I think this is something that I can invest in for the long term, for myself, for my family, and my children in the future. So it's really nice to see this generation doing their own research, dissecting information, and crunching their own figures, their own numbers, and realizing that they'll be able to achieve their ROI soon, much faster than they initially expected.
It's so funny that one of the common things that Yanni and Joey, what you guys brought up, is this generation's ability and tendencies, I guess, to research everything, right? Hop on the internet, everything is there. I just spent 20 minutes on the internet last night researching about which keyboard to buy, and just using that allocation of time, it really makes sense to be like, well, maybe I should also look into something else. That's why, so everyone who's watching this webinar right now, this is a great use of your time, as opposed to what I did last night, which was research about keyboards. Joey, I have a question for you. When I was much younger, the concept of real estate and personal ownership of real estate almost exclusively revolved around bahay, lupa, na titirhan mo. Diba? Pag nagkapamilya ako, I'll have a house and a lot, and I will make those purchases at some point in my life for the exclusive use of myself and my family residentially, right? That was kind of my concept of what real estate ownership was. It wasn't even real estate investment. Obviously, over the last few decades, we've seen how the condo industry, it's been booming. That's one word for it. And now investing your money in property has become much more of a phenomenon, maybe not even for personal residential use. I'd love to know, because market research, property market research is your specialty. I guess pretty briefly, how would you explain this phenomenon, and are there any key insights that you have around what's happened over the last few years?
Well, the benefits of investing in a condominium unit, Nico, have really evolved. So you mentioned earlier, when you talk about property investment, it only revolves around bahay at lupa. I would say that it has evolved, into owning a condominium, owning a piece of property in a central business district, in an integrated community, right, where you have immediate access to basic goods and services. You also enjoy strict property management protocols. These property managers in a condominium development highlight health and safety, and now is really a good time to highlight these property management protocols, social distancing measures being implemented within condominium units. But also, just to add some numbers, the Philippines has one of the highest yields in terms of condominium investing. Meaning, if you buy a condominium unit now, will you be able to make a good yield or a return, right? And the Philippines has one of the highest in Asia. That's why we see a lot of foreigners, a lot of young urban professionals investing their money in a condominium unit. Now, we've seen a lot of condos as I mentioned earlier, being developed not just as a standalone property, right? But
Right.
these are condominiums that are developed within townships, integrated communities, and these are near infrastructure projects, right? The toll roads, expressways, bridges being developed across the Metro Manila. And when you invest in condominium unit that are near these infrastructure projects being implemented by the government, definitely the potential for price for land value increase is there. And again, if you are in an integrated community, you will be able to lease that out in the future. And again, you earn money while renting out your condominium unit. So you have a passive income on the side, right? So there's really a lot of benefits that I can highlight in condominium investment. And this is a generation that has really turned into an investment savvy batch generation. So we're seeing a lot of millennials, young professionals, really investing in a condominium unit now.
The concept of what a city is continues to expand, right? Literally and figuratively. What used to be just few central, as you know, mentioned about the concept of a CBD, a central business district, used to be these few countable, very few places within Metro Manila. But we're seeing all the infrastructure that you mentioned, along with the condominium developments that kambal yan usually, right? I mean, if infrastructure is built at this area, you can bet your money on it. There's going to be a condominium development near it as well. And there's really, essentially, as we kind of track this, fewer and fewer reasons for you to travel out of that kind of smaller area, that kind of bubble, that new city, and cross over and go to the usual traditional business districts of the past, right? And I think that's one of the great things that's also along with that comes with whether it's residing or owning condominium property, because once you're there, the developers really make sure everything else you need is there. There's no more need to go anywhere else. Nate, I know that you have a question that kind of revolves around speaking to young professionals, right? We've heard the benefits. And I think what you have in mind is really important as a next step.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to investing, like, we're talking about money, we're talking about investing, about yields, and about ROI. As a young professional, especially like in the pandemic, we research on the stock market, we research on crypto and stuff. And, sometimes we see like one day Bitcoin is at this really high price, and then the next day bumagsak. And, it seems like such a huge risk to invest your money. Is it the same with the real estate na parang we'll see prices fluctuate so much and then we don't know how volatile it will be?
Great question, Nate. Kasi maraming ang nagre-research ngayon, you're right, in stock market, in crypto, like you mentioned. But ano nga ba, yung mga things that they need to know also when investing in a real estate property? I think before anything, kahit anong investment pa yan, we have to be clear talaga on the reason why we want to invest. It's the why, no? We have to be clear with that because the how-tos, the whats will be defined depending on our why. So we have to be clear on our goals. Sinabi nyo nga, very volatile ang market. So anong kailangan? Dapat clear tayo sa goals natin. Porket ba bumaba yung value ng property mo, ibebenta mo na agad, diba? Yung parang mga ganyan. But if you're clear with your goals na, okay, long-term siya, because sabi nga ni Sir Joey, it could be a passive income in the future, then I will continue. Then I will continue investing in it. I will continue paying for it. So, pag clear ka sa goal mo, hindi ka magsa-stop agad in the middle and say, okay, ayoko na, i-withdraw ko na lang yung crypto ko kasi bumaba bigla. Diba? Pero yung goal mo, long-term naman, you're not supposed to withdraw it anytime soon. So, you're not gonna withdraw it. Ganun. So, you really have to be clear with your goal and your why, no? Kasi if you're clear with your why, no, parang hindi na lang siya I want the property because it's nice to have one. It would be I want a property for me to have passive income in the future because I want to retire early and enjoy my life. Let's say like that. Diba? Kung clear ka sa why mo, mas magsistay ka doon sa mga investment choices mo.
Wow,
and, you know,
I hope that clarified
Yeah, no.
I clarified it for you, Nate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nate, you know, I think that I think that there's really something interesting with the way you phrased your question, because yes, we do research this, right? At a generational level, tayo mga millennials, and I think even more the Gen Z, we research this, right? This is what happens when I take my money and put it here. I've seen it happen to so many others before. We have Coach Yanni, we have Joey telling us, right? This is the wise play. However, it requires a very significant step. Me coming apart from my money, which I want to use elsewhere. Nate, this is our struggle, bro. This is something. This is something that this is the crossroads. This is the fork in the road that we always run into. Nate, you know, I'm sure this is something you've experienced as well.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, that was gonna be my follow-up question, sana, for Coach Yanni. Like, when it comes to investing, whether that's a house or a car or equipment, or I feel like my lifestyle has to get compromised. I feel like I'm parting with money that I'm not gonna see the immediate delivery to my doorstep of the actual product, or like the immediate results. No? So I feel like, if I'm working on a specific budget every month, what would be your advice, no, in terms of budgeting and adjusting my budget and my lifestyle for an investment like this?
This is my favorite topic, managing finances. No, I mentioned earlier, you have to set your goals, right? And managing your finances means budgeting. No, budgeting. Magkano ba dapat, if you were to ask me? No? In investment, no, I always have this what I allocate na I call financial freedom fund. No, parang hindi siya expenses for me. 'Di ba? It's not hard to like allocate money for it. Kasi inisip ko, this is for my financial freedom. So financial freedom fund is your money that you allocate for your investments. No, if people are for employees, no, they could start with 10 to 20% or even higher, especially now nasa bahay lang naman tayo, no, na we can set aside and allocate more money going into our investments. Anong ibig sabihin ng investments? So, investments meaning kumikita yung pera mo. Kumikita yung pera mo for you. It's working for you. So, you just have to really allocate and set aside. Ikaw yung magsiset actually kung magkanong percentage. But for people, you can start with 10 to 20% of your monthly income na automatic in your head. I'm putting it in my financial freedom fund. I'm putting it in my investment. So, just an example, Nate, what you can do is, for example, 20% of what you earn this month, you are setting it aside to, let's say, an investment that you really want to invest in. So, for example, that's real estate, no? Pwede mo siyang ipunin, okay, para may pambayad ka sa down. No, ipunin mo siya, let's say, 5-6 months yung 20%, and then may pambayad ka sa down. So, it's really just allocating, managing your money better, so that you can pay and buy the investments that you need.
That's true, no, Coach Yanni. Parang I'm realizing I'm just at home most of the time, and then I'm spending a lot every month. Porket, there's that mindset among I guess the younger crowd na porket may paycheck, porket sweldo, yun, kailangan may online shopping agad, or bibili ng coffee na, it's a little more expensive than just making coffee at home. You know what I mean? So I guess those are very reasonable lifestyle adjustments in exchange for financial freedom in the future.
Nate, before you even take out money for your expenses, lalo na yung mga sinasabi mo, no, mga additional expenses, it's nice to allocate na agad din. Pagdating sa'yo ng money, pagdating sa'yo ng check, paycheck, automatic, set aside your money for investments. Para hindi mo na siya nakikita, di ba? Pag hindi mo na nakikita, hindi mo na naiisip na, oy, afford ko pang bumili ng coffee outside. Afford ko pa ulit take out ng food, di ba? So, dapat, kaya nga sinasabi nila, di ba? Income minus your savings first before you budget for your monthly expenses.
I think that's such a practical step, because I'll tell you, if that money is in my hands, It's hard.
Me
It's
too.
hard to convince me to part with it, man. I mean, I feel very seen. I feel very seen in this conversation. Very helpful. I think the more seen you feel if you're watching this right now, then that means we are the target audience today. Joey, I want to ask the elephant in the room. Joey, is this? Sige, I'll follow Coach Yanni's advice. I'll set aside X% per month. I've done my internal calculus. Kaya kong magtabi etong amount na to per month for 6 months, 8 months to make a lump sum down payment. All right, I've done it. What a lot of people kind of dread is, Joey, may monthly payments. Tuloy-tuloy yan. Every month, I'm going to have to set aside that same amount of money, maybe even more, just to keep up with the investment. Joey, I'm sure you get this question a lot. Am I still gonna be able to enjoy my life without even talking about my monthly obligations? What if I want coffee? What if I want to buy coffee? Yeah. What if hindi gusto kong may bilhin sa 11/11 sale? Are those two things and how mutually exclusive they are from each other? Enjoying your life, right? And buying purchases and investing. Joey, I'm sure you get that question a lot. What do you say when people say that? That's my hesitation.
Well, first, just brew your own coffee at home, right? But no, seriously, Nico, right now, what we have been seeing is that a lot of developers, and I briefly mentioned this earlier, are really providing attractive, extended payment terms. So they're making sure that the millennials, the young investors, are able to afford their monthly installment payments, their monthly installments. And, just look at the type of investment that you're making. I mean, you're investing in real estate, in property, and you'll be able to take advantage of higher capital values or prices. After 5-7 years, you'll be able to resell it. Or if you want to earn passive income, which I also highlighted earlier, you'll be able to rent it out. So, just look at the benefits of investing. Don't just think about the monthly payments that you have to make. You have to think of it, as a long-term investment, and the yields that you will be able to achieve after successfully making this property investment. So overall, I would say that the benefits definitely outweigh the short-term risks. And again, property investment is still a viable investment option, especially for the younger ones.
And I guess what I'm getting from it is this is a long-term play, right? There's no need to rush the yield, and at the same time also, in some respects, and correct me here if I'm wrong, guys, there's no need to rush kind of the completion of the investment as well. So you don't need to deprive yourself. You don't need to delete the app for 11/11. You can go check. You can even go treat yourself a little bit. It's just a matter of maybe following the formula for Coach Yanni, right? Minus savings kagad before you even get to expenses. Now, okay, we've established that. Investing. We've established the hows. We've given us very, very practical tips on how to come up with the money to invest. Nate, I think that there is an obvious question that follows that,
For
right?
sure. I mean, I guess calling back to what Coach Yanni said brilliantly, when I start with why, and when I'm intentional with my goal, and I see it as a long-term play, not one where just a get-rich-quick scheme, just an overnight success kind of thing, but you're in it for the long haul talaga. If I've got that mindset already, my final question is investing my money in real estate really worth it?
I get this misconception a lot na baka naman hindi kumita yan in the future. Pero again, what the data is saying, sabi nga ni Sir Joey kanina, no, isa sa mga best places to invest in condominiums and real estate properties is here in the Philippines. I just wanna add to that minsan iniisip ng mga tao, do I need to cut my current lifestyle for me to start investing in real estate? Diba? Na parang yun nga, no? Magde-delete daw si Nico ng app. Siguro, isa sa mga importanteng maisip is that, yun nga, intentional investing. No? So, first answer to that is for people who are living high maintenance yan. Baka pwede namang you can cut down on unnecessary expenses.
Dahan-dahan.
Hindi naman sinasabing wag na, 'di ba? Enjoy life, pero yung sinabi nga ni Sir Joey kanina, late gratification ang tawag doon, 'di ba? Na in the future, no, ngayon magtitimpla muna ako ng kape, pero in the future may pangbili na ako at yung pambabayad ko pambili ng coffee is galing na lang sa kinikita ko from my property investments.
Coach Yani, Joey, pwede bang MWF, magtitimpla ako ng sarili kong kape. Pwede ba? I mean, I joke, but I think that this is a reality. We spoke about being home a lot for so many of us during the pandemic, and in a strict financial accounting sense of plus and minus, some would argue, well, that means savings, man. Kasi wala kang pamasahe, hindi ka nagbabayad gas, you're just at home, you're not eating out for lunch. But in reality, as we all have experienced over the last year, a lot of that is also, man, I've been at the house every day for the last how many months. Gusto ko naman pa-deliver ng pagkain, gusto naman hindi na magluto, gusto naman hindi na maglinis, right? So there's obviously a push and pull there, and I think what's important to communicate to those who are watching right now, and Joey, Yani, you guys have said it, and you guys have touched on it a little bit. It doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be this or that. I mean, is that an accurate thing to say? I'm negotiating for myself.
I want to add to that, Nico, kasi what we think is, okay, yun na nga, no, it's not a push and pull thing. It's actually, you can do it side by side, no, sabay. Ano ibig sabihin ito? Di ba I mentioned earlier, you have your financial freedom fund. You also should have your fun money. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yes, gusto mo fun money. Yan ang tawag ko dyan. Fun. No? So, kung gusto mo magpa-deliver, mag-shopping, bumili ng food, magpalinis ng bahay, and you wanna use your fun money for that. Because, alam mo naman, yung sa millennials, diba, deserve ko to. Yung ganyang feeling. Deserve ko to. Nag-work ako diba? Yung ganyang feeling. That's totally fine. That's totally normal. Again, while you're setting aside money for your investment, set aside money also for your fun. Kasi syempre, deserve mo naman talaga yan, di ba?
And I trust me, I know how to put the fun in fund. Joey, to you, related to that, there are Gen Z, there are people who are watching this right now who belong to Gen Z, and they're gonna get on this train earlier, and good for them, right? Good for them. And this is a question that I have. I think if there's one thing people will take away from this is that I'm the target market of people who have to be convinced to be a little bit more disciplined and open-minded about how I spend my money relative to investment. And you mentioned this a little bit, Joey. That's why I wanted to ask you, because you said, before you joined Colliers, you didn't really know all too much about this either. Here's the quick, direct question: is it too late for me? Because I feel like there's a lot of millennials who are watching this. I'm 32, right? Yanni gave an age bracket for millennials earlier, and I felt so attacked. I was like, I have 3 years left. I have 3 years left as a young professional. But am I late to the train, Joey?
No, definitely not. Because, if you want to invest, we always say at Colleges Philippines, a very good time to invest is now. because we see mortgage rates are still becoming very competitive. They're very attractive in the market at this point. A lot of developers providing all these payment schemes that they did not give out pre-pandemic. And you have a lot of options as well in the market. You have a lot of condominium projects that will be completed in Metro Manila, strategically located, that are near infrastructure projects and are developed within integrated communities. And again, don't forget the potential for price and land appreciation, as well as the prospect for rent in the future. So, no, all these factors, if you consider all these gains that you will have in the near future, in the midterm, and given all the monthly payments that you have to make, perhaps skimp on some food and beverage purchases, it's really just worth it. And when you invest in a property, we always say that look for location. That is very important. There's several condominium units in the market, projects that are strategically located. Definitely you have a lot of choices. So if you are to invest, definitely now is the right time to invest.
I'm not just saying this because I'm here on the webinar today, and I'm not just sucking up to Yanni and to Joey for the questions they have, and to Nate for making it so comfortable for me to be so honest about ourselves here, bro. But I'm feeling really, really encouraged. I'm feeling really, really encouraged. So I hope that a lot of people who are watching feel the same way. But this is something that I've learned, right? So this is something that I've learned in preparation for today, because of all the information I've been getting over the last week or so with our friends from SMDC. Nate, this is a day of learning for the two of us. I think learning one more thing wouldn't hurt, especially because I think that getting in touch with a real property can be very, very productive. We've shown that already, but sometimes it's about money, right? And earning. We've talked about budgeting money. We've talked about how to spend our money. But what about earning money? This SMDC program that I mentioned earlier that we would discuss today helps you earn extra money.
What's that? What's that about?
The program is, as I said, brought to us by our friends from SMDC. It's called the Refer a Home Buyer program. All right? So it's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is endorse a client to your assigned seller, and they'll update you on the purchase status. The program is open to all who are interested, anyone who's interested in becoming a partner. You'll get a referral fee of at least 2% of the unit price. 2% of the unit price. And you can withdraw the referral fee from your own BDO account for local referrers or any other bank for international referrers. Accreditations are processed in only 2 days, and it'll be valid for 1 year. And once your application is confirmed, SMDC will send you an email, and a property specialist will contact you to help you with your next steps. So, we've told you how to manage your money. We've given you advice on how to invest your money. We make that full circle today by showing you guys how to earn extra money. And if it's extra money, it's easier to invest because it's extra. I wasn't expecting that before this webinar. Sign up at refer.smdc.com and be our partner today. Again, that's refer.smdc.com to be our partner. Selfishly, I really want to take much more advantage of Yanni's coaching and Joey's expertise for myself and for Nate. But all good things must come to an end. But before we wrap up, I want to throw it back to our panelists one more time for, final tips and advice that you guys want to share. Coach Yanni, we can start with you.
Yeah, number one tip talaga is thank you for sharing your Refer a Home Buyer program of SMDC, because that's one way of us to have another source of income. Ayun. So, take advantage of that because hindi mo na kailangan mag-real estate agent and you're gonna earn. Tinulungan mo pang makahanap ng bahay yung friend mo or yung family member mo. So, take advantage of that. Number two is also take advantage of the good payment plans na binibigay ngayon. Sabi nga ni Sir Joey, di ba? Na before pandemic, the companies don't give this out. So, if you are planning to invest in real estate, just try to search now and see ano ba yung payment plans na mag-work sa current financial situation mo. And I guess number three is to just start today. Know whether that is fixing your financial allocation monthly, or increasing your source of income, or just investing in real estate. Just start today. Do something around your investment.
I'm already starting as of 20 minutes ago. I've exposed myself now as I revealed my age, and then 5 minutes later said I'm already starting. But as Joey encouraged me, the best time is now. And as Coach Yanni said, I am not yet too late. Joey, what's your final tip and advice to everyone watching?
Thank you, Nico. Let me just encapsulate my advice. First, do your own research. Filipinos spend about 11 hours every day surfing the internet. So 11 hours, that's more than enough for you
Joey,
to do your
Busina naman.
own research, right? So look at the payment terms that they are giving out. Are these payment terms affordable? And also, don't be afraid to ask your broker, your friends who might be able to give you a tip or two on how to invest properly and how to really make that major investment. And as I mentioned also earlier, my second advice is, if you have the means now is the opportune time to invest while we all have these competitive mortgage rates and the flexible payment terms being offered by developers. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of options in the market. So be discerning and don't just invest, but make sure that you also make the right type of property investment.
Thanks a lot, Joey. I think that it's you've given us a whole lot to really think about, but more importantly, a whole lot that we can act on, and in a way for us that's easy to understand. Nate, you and I, we walked into this, and that was our number one thing, right? Real estate investment, hard to understand, intimidating. But I think that Coach Yanni and Joey have done a great job of really simplifying things for us. I found it to be very encouraging. What are your insights at the end of this webinar?
It was intimidating at first, coming into, we talked about my first impression of real estate, but Coach Yanni and Joey, thank you so much for making it more understandable and even more feasible. Although today I also learned from Miko that I'm not the only one who wants coffee from a cafe every now and then, and I'm not the only one who wants to splurge on 11-11. But yun nga, as Coach Yanni said, it's important to remember that even though it's good to treat yourself, we have to remember the concept of delayed gratification, wherein when we make easy decisions now, we may end up with a more difficult future. But if we make the difficult decisions now, we could possibly end up with a much easier future. So, that's my takeaway today.
That's well said. That's incredible growth from where we were at the start of this webinar to having that as your take. I'm proud of you. I'm not sure if I'm proud of you. I'm not sure if I'm proud of me just yet, right? But at least, as you said, there's two of us in this club, and there's a lot to be hopeful for. Thanks once again to all our panelists for all the great things that you guys have brought to the table today, for your wisdom, Coach Yanni, for your expertise, Joey, and for all the insightful questions and reflections that you shared with us, Nate. I want to remind everyone who's watching once again, the ultimate budol out there right now. I can tell you to go get food delivered. I can give you a great 1111 product that you can shop for, and that's usually what we think of with Boodles, right? But the ultimate one is to refer someone to go get property for themselves and to make a great investment as well. Visit refer.smdc.com to learn more about SMDC's Refer a Home Buyer program and earn extra money while helping your friends and family find a new home. And if you
Nico.
are already interested, yes,
2% yun, di ba? Referral fee.
2%.
That's pretty
2%.
great. If you think about that.
Pangbili
That's
ng
right.
kape.
That's why I'm about to say, if you are already interested, if you've done your research, as Joey said, if you've allocated your finances, as Coach Yanni has advised us to do, and you're ready to make that purchase, let me know so that I can refer you. There's no need to refer you anymore. There's no need to refer you anymore, technically, because your mind's made up and your finances are ready. But if you've learned one more thing today, I need a little bit of the help, and I could use the 2%. So let me know, and then I will refer you officially. But in all seriousness, again, it's refer.smdc.com. It's been an incredible time, and it's been a real load of fun, and it's just proof. Hopefully, this webinar is proof to all of you guys that talking about real estate investment and actually getting into real estate investment is actually a whole lot of fun. A lot of that is because of Mr. Nate Punzalan, Miss Yanni Moya, and of course, Sir Joey for joining us here this afternoon. And I'm so blessed and I'm so proud to be in this conversation with them. My name is Nico Ramos. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. And we can't wait to talk to you guys again soon to wrap up officially the Real Deal Condo Buying for Beginners. Stay safe, everyone.